if you look at it from a bird's eye point of view, it's like a diamond sort of shape, yeah? So you use 2/3 of a block of Oasis. So a normal block comes up to here, it's 2/3 that you use, okay? And that goes in the middle of your Oasis tray. Now you have to make sure to remember to tape it down, because otherwise the whole thing will just fall out the second that someone picks it up. I always think you're best to use the thicker Oasis tape rather than the thinner one, because you get a better grip on it. And I do go round twice when I put it on. So once you've got the first one on, I think it's always best to just add that bit of security and go round again. Now, we do the Oasis taping on the two sides. And does anyone know why we wouldn't go in across through the middle?
Would you have a space to put stuff in?
Yeah, exactly. Where your focal flower goes, if you put your Oasis cross in,
You're ready to put the focal flower in.
there's nowhere to put the focal flower. So it's always best to make sure that you've got two sides doing it. The most important thing with the Oasis spray, is with the double-ended spray, is that it has 2 points. So things like the ruscus and the eucalyptus and that, they're very good for getting your points. And it's quite simply just doing 2 pieces, the exact same length. So you can just double check it when you cut it, and they go in one either side, yeah? And they literally go straight down just on top of the Oasis spray, so you've still got all this space up here to put your flowers in. Using the same material, again, cut 2 pieces, the same length, that are going to be your points either side. So there you get like a very loose diamond shape.
I think that one looks a bit longer than that side.
When you get, when you look at it from a bird's eye point of view, you get a loose diamond shape, yeah? So now using your foliage, doesn't matter which one, you're going to have a mixture of the ruscus, the eucalyptus and the leatherleaf. You have to fill in around that shape, but remember not to take away from the actual diamond shape. So putting bits and pieces in as you go round. But if I was to sort of have that coming out too much like that, you won't get that slant, yeah? So you've got to remember that anything that you put in has to go inside of your points as they come round, okay? So you should always green quite heavily at the bottom to make sure that, you know, your tray from the bottom can't really be seen. But again, with the top, you haven't got to worry too much about filling in the top, because you can do that as you go along if your floral materials aren't covering it. So that's them two. So I'd probably do just a tiny bit of eucalyptus just to add some different textures into it. And the eucalyptus is very good for movement as well. And because it's quite bushy, it fills up quite a lot as well. So it is quite a good one to use. Now the size we're going to be doing is about this sort of length. So this is going to be used for like, this is sort of like mainly like friends rather than family, wouldn't you say, something this sort of size? Yeah? I think if it's family and they want one to the top of the coffin,
It'd have it a lot bigger.
a lot bigger, but it's the same principles. You know, making a double-ended spray this size, it's the same principles. If you make it bigger, you just obviously leave the stems
Like you
longer.
for a child as well, can't it?
Yeah. So that's basically my greening up so far. So I've gone quite sparingly on the top because I want to make sure I've got enough space for all my flowers to go in there. Now we're going to be using the gerberas to start with. Now the gerberas you do need to wire. So just in, I've wired them already, but just in case any of you don't know, when wiring a gerbera, just push the wire ever so gently into the head of the gerbera and then literally just twist it around.
What wire is that, Melissa?
70 wire, and that gives you the ability to be able to bend the head to whichever way suits you, yeah? So we've got gerberas, chrysanth, spray carnations, limonium and the eustoma. So out of all of these, which ones would you say would be the focal flower?
Gerbera.
Yeah, basically they're the biggest and the most dominant, so they would be the focal flower. So when coming in, you've got to remember your proportions. So your centre one should be half the length of your end. So if I think that that's the point of my length there, so if I do half of it and flipped it up, that's the sort of height you're looking for it to go in, yeah? So I always do my height first and then put my 2 gerberas in. Turn the heads up as you put them in because you want it to be facing upwards. There's no point having the flowers.
We've never done that before, is it? Bend the
downwards.
gerberas up. I've never done it.
Have you not?
Not in here, we haven't, no. Just put the wire in, I see.
Oh no, I always bend the heads just because otherwise I think you don't really get to see the actual gerbera head. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm doing like stepstones here, leading up to the centre one, yeah? It's symmetrical, so exactly the same each size, and I've just basically graduated them all the way over, so it is just like a
stepping up and
stepstone.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Then what I'm going to do, because now the colour is all completely in the centre, isn't it? So it's a little bit off balance. Yeah. I'm going to put a couple each side. I'm not going to put them down the bottom because you don't really get to see them too much down there. So putting them sort of like in the centre, just here, you can see them a lot more. Now, what's so easy about doing a double-ended spray is that if you cut it in half, it's the exact same both sides, or if you cut it through the centre, you know, the point's the same. It's all symmetrical. So it's quite easy when you're doing it. Anything that you put one side, just make sure you put the other side. So again, using the Lysianthus, I'm going to start off using it for like my bottoms, like the bottom of the sprays here. It's got such a nice point to it that it really does help create a bit of rhythm and movement down the bottom of the spray. So I'm just going to do all of my bottom first. Just like I said as well, just make sure that you're putting it evenly throughout the spray. So like if you're using 4 stems that side, try to make sure you're using 4 stems this side. Now I've kept...
Was that Lysianthus?
Yeah, the Lysianthus. I've kept the Lysianthus that's opening for the centre because it's really the colour that I want up nice and high there. And I'm just going to fill in between like my gerberas with my focal flowers just to start getting a bit of colour back in there. But as you can see, nothing is going higher than my gerberas here, yeah? So you just want to make sure that you want to keep the height. Right, and again, you're going to be doing the same with the spray carnations. You're literally just going to be using them to fill in anywhere that you think it's needed. You have to be careful, like where I'm sort of doing this like one at a time, like one sort of side at a time. You've got to be careful that you're picking up stems that have got even amounts of open heads, because otherwise you're going to end up, you could pick up one stem for this side that's got all open heads, then one stem for the other that hasn't got any at all, and so it could be a little bit off balance. You want to make sure that you're using equal amounts both sides, yeah? Now, my centre here at the minute, I think I need a little bit more foliage in because I can see a lot of my oasis. But the joy with doing it this way is that you can fill in with oasis once it's made. Like with the bottom, you can't really because all your flowers are lying on top of it. So you really want to make sure that it is the top that you leave last. So now with the limonium, this is to fill it in. This can be used, again, think about your balance each side, but there's no set rule as to where this has to be used. It's not like with the gerberas where you have to make sure, you know, that you're doing stepping stones or anything like that. You can have some coming towards the ends, you can have it coming out to the sides, centres, anywhere you like, just make sure that it is evenly balanced. Have any of you made one of these before?
Made something similar down the shop.
Yeah? Yeah. Do you do them quite often, Shapara? Yeah?
No, last year I done the lemon quite a lot.
No, that big one that you done,
Yeah.
level 1.
Yeah? These are very, very popular in shops. These are probably, would you say, the most popular funeral piece
Yeah.
that you do in the shops?
That side I've got more big on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the coffin tops, isn't
We
it?
had a really big one that we had to put in the school.
Like, yeah. The thing with the, I mean, I can't speak for other shops, but the Oasis sprays in my shop start at £35. Yeah, probably just maybe a little bit bigger for that sort of money. But they start at £35 and they could go up anything to, I think the most expensive one I've ever made is £500 for a coffin. So
How much?
500.
Oh.
Yes, no, they had it completely flowing down the sides of the coffin with calendars and everywhere. So it was very extravagant. But these are very popular, and you'll find that if you're in a shop doing funeral work, you will probably make more of these than what you do any other funeral piece, because everything goes through trends, and this is what people have at the moment, because a lot of the time they take them away after funerals and give them to like care homes, hospices, that they can put on their tables afterwards. You'll have
Why is that place all places?
A bit more like hospice, but not care homes, eh?
Especially in old
care
people
homes.
go.
Yeah, they have them on their like entrance tables and.
So right inside the funeral
Bits
director,
like
I mean,
that,
inside
yeah.
not when you go into like a funeral place and it's
Would you have that like on a table?
Would you like to pick which one you'd like when you go?
No, well, do you know, it is quite similar to the long low table arrangement, but they are made slightly different, because to a florist you would look at this and see this as a funeral spray, but then you can see how like the public would mistake it for a sort of table decoration. Yeah, no, don't do it that way. But we will be making table arrangements.
Well, it's the man's
He was
death.
saying that,
He's
but it would
getting
hang
married.
more. It would hang more over
Yeah,
the table, wouldn't it?
it would be more, if it's for a table, it'd be a slightly narrower shape. It wouldn't be such a sort of full out shape. So as you can see, I'm just filling it in with the green chrysanthemum. I'm not going to be putting too much more material in it, because I think that's probably got enough floral material in it. But as I can still see my oasis,
And me.
yeah, that's where, if you don't over green when you start, it's very easy now to go around with your different types of foliages.
I think she pops it off in it.
Push.
No, that's what she does in the shop as well.
Yeah.
She does it the naughty way.
It's a bad habit. You
She
don't.
gets me for bad habits.
Yeah.
So have
don't-
we done that then?
Yeah, you'd get told off. It's a really bad habit that you shouldn't do.
She cut that
Stop
one.
doing it, yeah. So basically, yeah, when you feel like you've got enough floral material in it, go round
Yeah.
all your different. You need to turn it round to sort of see it really, but I don't want to stop you guys from seeing the demonstration. Just keep
We can see it all right.
going round until in for yourself you can see that there's no more oasis on show. But I think if you overgreen at the start, it doesn't give you the opportunity to put the flowers where you want them to be put. You end up sort of crushing your leaves and things like that, and it damages the stems, and it makes it so that they don't last as long as what they should do, because a lot of people for funerals will actually buy these in advance. Like if they're travelling with it and things like that, it's not uncommon for people to come and buy them off you like 2 days before the funeral, and then obviously they want to go back to the cemetery or whatever afterwards to see them, and they do expect them to last for a little bit really. So it is making sure that all your stems are pushed into your oasis properly and with a decent length. You've got quite a lot of oasis there to work with, so really you should be able to leave your stems quite long, and then that will allow the flowers to drink.
I thought she wanted to pop it off
I
more.
can't help it. It's bad habits. I've been doing it for years.
Have you ever got someone shop you don't like your work?
that doesn't like my work.
Yeah, you must have one customer.
Yeah, like over the years, yeah. Thankfully, it's not common, but yeah, you're always you can't please everybody, and working with the general public, you have to be a saint to work with the public. You know, doing customer care. You know, not everybody is going to like what you make, and sometimes it may be that you've made it badly. Who's having an off day? You know, other times it's going to be that people just have different tastes. So you can't please everybody, but that's why order taking is so important. If you serve your customer correctly and you know what they're looking for, that keeps complaints to a minimum. But you're always going to have a customer that comes in that's not happy with what you make. But see, with things like funerals, it's not so easy to apologise with that. You know, you can't really do an apology and things with it, so you have to just